Hello everyone. Let's use Zenmap to enumerate a network. What does enumerating a network mean? Well, it basically means going through all the IP addresses on the network and seeing who's home. Well, let's start with downloading Zenmap. We go to nmap.org. Whoops, I should spell it right. There it is. So Nmap is the command line version of it. And if we go to Nmap 7.9, whatever it is, and go to Windows, when we download Nmap, we also get the Zenmap, which is the GUI part. So let's go ahead and download that guy. And he ends up in our downloads folder, almost always, unless you've changed where you download things. I'm going to open up that file. The installation of Zenmap is very easy. You just agree and click next, whatever it wants to do. Yours is probably going to say NCAP. It'll have this one checked in. I've already got a newer version of NCAP installed, so that's why it's turned off for me. Otherwise, you would leave it alone. And if you've installed something like Wireshark that has a newer version, then it won't be checked in. But normally this is going to be checked in if this is the first program that you've run that does this. NPCAP registers itself with your network card stack, which means the software that runs your network card and connects you to the internet. It allows you to capture packets as packets are going across your network card. Now, normally you're going to have another thing pop up if you've not installed the Nmap packet capture before. You'll have another one show up here that says install NPCAP. Well, you have to do that in Windows. However, in Linux, when we use Kali Linux, it's already built in. Linux is actually much better prepared for network work than Windows is. So you would go through the NPCAP installation, and then you'll come back to this, click next and finish, and that's really, you follow the directions and you're done. Well, the next step, of course, is to bring up ZEN or Nmap. Notice right there it says Nmap, Zenmap GUI. Nmap is the base program. Zenmap is a GUI, what you might call a wrapper. W-R-A-P-P-E-R. Yeah, not like a rapper like who's in the house, or I don't know how to rap. This is a graphical interface for this command line command. When you change the graphical interface settings, it changes this command. We are going to be doing the, I don't remember which we're doing, quick scan, maybe? Yeah, we'll do quick scan. Quick scan plus, and the more intense ones give you more information, but we'll do quick scan since I think that's what's on here. Now, establishing your target is the hardest part of this. We're using VirtualBox in this class, and so I'm going to show you an address we're never going to use, but you go to Start, type in CMD, and that'll bring up your friend, Mr. Command Prompt. ipconfig/all is one of the most used tools in Windows to troubleshoot networking connections. We can also determine our IP address, which will help us determine the IP range for our network that we're going to scan. Okay, so this is not a real adapter. 192.168.56.1, nunca. We will never use this in any of our stuff, any of our classes. This is the VirtualBox virtual adapter that allows VirtualBox to connect to your network card. That is all it does. It doesn't do anything else. This also does not have a gateway, DNS server, or any of the other normal things you'll see in a network. This one does. I'm connected up by an Ethernet adapter. You most likely might be connected up with a wireless. But you'll see these things in common. It'll have DHCP enabled. You'll have a unique IP version 4 address. Subnet mask. The subnet mask divides or masks out the network address from the host address. So 255.255.255 masks this out and tells your computer, this is my network. The 0 tells the computer, this is my unique local host address or host address. Every device on a network has to have a unique host address in order to operate. If you have two people in the room named Bill and you just say, hey, Bill, how do you know who's going to answer? You don't. Everybody in the network, however, has this in common, which we'll see when we scan my network. This is my home network. That's how we determine what we're going to scan. My default gateway, or my router, is at this address. I have a DHCP server, which also happens to be on my router. I have DNS servers to do domain name service, which is name resolution. When we type in Google, there it is. When I type in Google, my home server resolves it for me. So for instance, ping is the next command that we use all the time to troubleshoot networks. If I ping google.com, well, it brings back a number. Computers don't understand names. We do. Would you rather type in google.com or 142.250.69.238? Sure you would. No, you want to type in Google. So what happens when I ping Google is my computer says, oh, I don't know the number of that. Let me talk to Mr. DNS server right here and let me get back to you with the number so I can actually go to that web address. And then we're sending ping packets, which is a test packet. It actually stands for Packet Internet Groper. It's an ICMP packet, which is basically a testing packet that you send to someplace and they reply and you know everything's working. Well, back up to here to our network. Now we know this is our network address. In a network, 0 is what's called the network address, for the network host you could call it. 255 is broadcast. So we can have 1 to 254 legitimate IP addresses on a network. So when we fill in our target, I'm going to type this in. You aren't, because probably your network doesn't start with 192.168.9. It's most likely it doesn't. And instead of typing in 0 for the network, I'm going to type in the first host address that's possible. I'm going to do a -254. This means I'm going to scan every host on my network, 1 to 254, and everybody has the same first part, the first network address. So if I do quick scan, and NetMap is pretty quick. It's not going to, oh, there we go. It doesn't take very long. It might take 5 or 6 or 7 seconds or something like that. Or, I don't know. I never sit here and watch it. Well, these are all the devices on my home network. I don't know why it didn't come up with my router. That's interesting. I'm not sure why it didn't, because my router is at 192.168.9.1, and it's not in here. Anyway, here's a bunch of my computers and things. This is actually my computer I'm sitting at right now. So you can see when I click on this, it shows me information over here. When I click on this, well, it can't go any further down. So 245 is, I don't know, remember what that, oh, that's my Docker installation on my Windows machine. And there's 12 hosts that says, this is me, Bill-PC, and the computerguy.local is my local domain. And this guy right here is my server. I have a home server. Of course I have a home server. Anybody serious about IT has a home server. And now you can buy those little mini PCs on eBay for $200-300 and they'll work just fine to run a home server. Lots of people are doing that because it doesn't take up much electricity, they're cheap, and they work really well. Regardless, this is what we want. How many IP addresses were scanned? Well, we scanned 254 IP addresses. We found 12 hosts. That's always what you refer to somebody on an IP network as a host. It gives us some information about the computers that are on here. It gives the MAC addresses. It gives the IP addresses. Sometimes it'll show what kind of a device it is, but this particular scan doesn't show that. If you want to find out all kinds of things, do an intent scan. That'll show you all kinds of things. The operating system, all kinds of stuff. It'll take a little while, but you'll find some interesting information. We are at the end. That is the basics of how to scan your network, or one term is enumerate your network, your local network, and see who's there and who's alive. Why is this used? Well, if you're a security guy, you might want to scan your network once in a while and say, okay, who the heck is this? This does not look like a computer that's supposed to be on my network. Like this is, oh, that's my irrigation system. I have a wireless irrigation system for my yard. It has a timer and I can do it by my phone. This is my, yeah, that's my Alexa. This is a little device I have in my breezeway that sends, I think it's every 15 minutes, it sends temperature, humidity, and barometric pressure up to a ThingSpeak channel. So I can see, oh, the temperatures and stuff. Oh, there's my switch right there. Don't remember what that one is. But see, you got enough information, you can kind of figure out what's on your net. Oh, there's my TV, of course. I do have a, yeah, my TV isn't on, but it shows up because it's kind of in a sleep mode. Anyway, you'll find out stuff about your network. And my network, based on my experiences in the past with students who scan their networks, it's always surprising. Many of them will have 15 to 20 or more devices. You know, smart ring cameras, anything that connects to Wi-Fi is going to show up on this network scan. Well, we've enumerated a network and come back for some more fun with networking.